Baseball is a game of both beauty and numbers.
Count is 3-0. 2 outs.
Hitting .238, 10 for his last 25.
It's not always about the numbers, but then again, maybe it is.
Williams swings as a high drive.
Hang a star on that, baby.
40 homers and 40 steals.
For baseball, a game that grows from its past finds warmth in statistics. This is one of the all-time great moments.
And when those numbers are special,
Hershiser, 59 consecutive innings, scoreless.
they elevate the game's greatest moments into milestones.
And a ground ball back up the middle. He's a new all-time hit king, number 258 479.
Trevor Hoffman has become the all-time saves leader.
Harry Gagne has the major league record for consecutive saves.
But whether they're amazing achievements or record-breaking feats,
Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star.
history has shown us that they are bound to be broken. Or are they?
Ricky goes, a pitch taken, he's going to have it. He does.
Will anyone ever hit in more than 56 straight games? Are more than 511 career wins out of the question? Can one team possibly eclipse 5 straight titles?
Yankees win.
Consecutive games played, there he is.
Simply masterful today.
Just beautiful to watch.
The answers to these questions and more are coming up in baseball's most unbreakable feats. Hi everyone, I'm Roger Clemens. We're about to explore what we think are 10 of the most unbreakable feats in all of baseball. We polled more than 160 major league players, coaches, and managers, and before we're through, you'll find out which ones they picked as the game's most unbreakable feats. Having played big league baseball for 23 years, I've come to know just how important numbers are to the game. Like 4,604. That's how many career strikeouts I had by the end of the 2006 season, second most in baseball history. But I'd still need 200 a year for the next 5 years just to catch the Ryan Express.
And here's the pitch. He struck him out swinging on another fastball. Number 11 for Ryan.
It's very easy to remember how many strikeouts Nolan Ryan had in his career. Just 5,000 and then add Babe Ruth's total, 714 home runs. So 5,714.
When I broke into the big leagues, the 2 records they said that would never fall were Babe Ruth's home run record and Walter Johnson's strikeout record.
The 1-2 pitch strike, 3 call on Mills, and there's the record breaker. 3,509 strikeouts for Nolan Ryan.
Not only did he break Walter Johnson's strikeout record, but I mean, he shattered it.
Strikeout number 4,000 for Nolan Ryan.
I think my greatest memory of all times in all baseball was Nolan Ryan's 5,000 strikeout.
Here's the payoff pitch. He struck him out swinging. Strikeout number 5,000 is history for Nolan Ryan.
5,000 strikeouts. It's basically kind of striking out every guy you face.
I pulled up his stats one time, and it was just unbelievable to see. It's so up there and just so unbelievable that that's why he's Nolan Ryan.
The personification of a power pitcher. Every time you faced him, you know what's coming. You hear it coming.
You could hear that ball pop into the mitt. I mean, he could break a catcher's mitt in about 2 innings because it was just pop, pop.
Am I the hardest thrower that ever pitched in the big leagues? You know, I really don't know that.
Swing and a miss. He has 13 strikeouts in the ball game.
Everybody talks about his fastball, but the guys that really faced him talk about his breaking ball.
He struck him out with it.
And he throws a real hard curveball.
Look at that!
Crackling curveball, the kind that buckle your knees.
If you're a right-hand hitter, it starts out here, so you have to actually allow that ball to be coming right at your head for what seems like an eternity.
Watch Calderon buckle right here. Oh, my. My.
The hitters had no shot when he was on his game, and it just looked like domination.
Domination and intimidation. two things that Nolan Ryan used to perfection throughout his career.
To me, that mound's your mound and that's your territory, and you want the hitter to know that you look at it that way. You don't want to ever give them the thought that you're not confident in what you're doing.
They want the fastball up on him.
Some pitches you dig in, you get a good toe hold so you don't slip. With Nolan, if you was digging a hole, you were digging your grave.
You have to pitch too long and strike out too many people. I mean, there may be a guy that hangs around and pitches long enough, but it's not going to be the guy that can be the power pitcher that Ryan was for that many years. It's about impossible.
It's very physically taxing on an arm to strike out guys. But Nolan Ryan was just sort of an anomaly as far as he was a physical sort of freak, I guess, you know, in a real positive way.
No doubt your legs play a big role in pitching, and if you have a leg problem, then well, you have an arm problem because you can't pitch without your legs being strong.
It's very tough to combine durability with stuff, and stuff is what gets strikeouts. I don't think you'll see that in the modern era.
Randy Johnson and I are the closest to Ryan's record. But heading into the 2007 season, we were both still more than 1,100 strikeouts away. And that's the kind of fuzzy math I'll leave to others to compute.
5,700 divided by 3 is what? 19 seasons of 300 plus strikeouts, and the leaders in the major leagues every year don't even get that.
Just look at Minnesota's Johan Santana, the American League's reigning strikeout king. Johan's led his league in Ks for the past 3 years, thanks to some really nasty stuff.
Hey, struck him out.
But Santana's average of 164 strikeouts a year doesn't come close to the numbers the Express hung up on a regular basis.
Call strike three, there's 300. Nolan Ryan, for the 6th time in his career, has struck out 300 or more batters.
Back in the day, people used to pitch like 40 starts and pitch every 3 days. Now people are getting less and less starts, so it's going to be harder to get those strikeouts, 10 strikeouts per game, 10 strikeouts per game.
He has struck out 5 in a row, and he's got 15 Ks working.
Nowadays, with the pitch count factor,
you're good. I mean, you're at 112 for 6 innings. That's plenty.
It's almost like a guy won't be allowed to strike out that many and remain in the game.
Nolan Ryan one-hits the White Sox with a 16 strikeout performance.
What sticks out in my mind is he had 27 major league seasons, and that is just incredible.
I just don't see anybody being able to pitch for the length of time that Nolan pitched. I mean, there's some good power pitchers in this game.
A new franchise record, 16 strikeouts for Jake Peavy.
But it seems that it's become increasingly harder for those young arms to stay healthy.
Lariano works from the set for the first time this afternoon, and the pitch low and in the dirt.
I'm hoping it's something other than his elbow.
Very rarely do you see a guy with that kind of arm and that kind of pitcher stay healthy for more than 5 years, much less 27.
To pitch as long as he did, consistently as he did, effectively as he did.
He just blew it by him.
It's just something that is really legendary, and guys like that you just leave out by themselves and don't try to bring too many people into their circle.
Consecutive games for Cal Ripken Jr. Midway through this one, it'll be 2-1, 3-1.
You live your life, you play your career in a certain way to try to be the best that you can be. And I think everybody realizes down deep inside, in order to accomplish something,
And the Orioles are the champions of the world.
Number 400.
Number 3,000.
you have to give yourself to the task. And giving yourself to the task means going to the place of work and getting through the tough times.
It's an approach that was first symbolized by the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig. When he played in 2,130 consecutive games, folks said it was a mark that would never be broken. But who could have foreseen the emergence of Cal Ripken, and a career best characterized by 2 words, the streak.
The streak resonated with a lot of people because it could relate to plain value of going to work every day and trying to meet the challenges of the day.
Oh my goodness, he's done it again!
You got to want to play, and you got to play well. One reason that some guys don't play every day is they're not good enough. A guy like Cal was the best player on the team. Every day you want to win the game, you want Cal in the lineup.
Home run for Ripken, he does it!
One more great memory for Cal Ripken Jr.
What Cal Ripken has done without missing a game, I don't know if people understand how amazing that really is.
There's no way to describe it. I don't think I have any secret that I can dispel at this point, and then everybody will play 1,000 consecutive games. It's just a little bit of luck and a lot of desire.
He's a guy who just showed up and gave 100% every single day for years and years and years. He was baseball's everyman.
It says so much about a player. To me, even more so than numbers, because preparation, discipline, all the great things that you have to do right to be on the field for that many games.
162 game schedule per season, plus your 30 spring training games, plus if your team makes the playoffs. You know, it's a 200-plus year.
The shortstop, now playing in 2,000 consecutive games in a row, Cal Ripken.
Just going out there and playing shortstop on an everyday basis is not like, you know, playing left field. You know, shortstop is a pretty busy position.
Diving stop by Cal.
There's so many little things that can go wrong. You know, you roll an ankle, you get hit on the hand.
Cal's pain tolerance is pretty high. I mean, because every day that you go out there and play, you're hurting.
It's easy to call in sick. It's easy not to show up. But if you push through, you find that you can.
And let it be said that number 8, Cal Ripken Jr., has reached the unreachable star.
What began on May 30th, 1982, climaxed when Cal played in his 2,131st consecutive game. The Iron Man had passed the Iron Horse.
Once the celebration started, the applause didn't seem to go down. And it went from 50,000 strong to a very intimate, one-on-one personal celebration where you would look into the eyes of every single one that you talked to.
Moment that will live for 2,131 years.
Cal would go on to play in 2,632 straight games, a streak that covered 17 seasons. He'd have plenty of memorable moments, but that night in Baltimore was something special.
From a human, personal standpoint, the celebration of 2131 was out of this world. There's no human moment that can be better than that.
You usually say this record will never be broken, but there seems like somebody always, it's going to be hard for me to believe this record's going to be broken.
I just think that there's so many things working against a player being able to play at that level for that long and not run into a pulled hamstring or a foul ball off your foot where you can't walk the next day. The chances of that are high.
For Matsui to leave a game tells you that it is indeed hurt. He's played in now 519 consecutive games for the Yankees.
You've got to perform well and then perform well enough and stay physically healthy enough to be able to do it year in and year out. It's just not an easy task.
That record right there, I don't think anybody ever wants to come close to it, to be honest with you.
My first thought with Cal is somebody that's in a Baltimore uniform now, and that's Tejada.
Hey, what is it about guys who play shortstop in Baltimore anyway? Miguel is one of just 7 major leaguers ever to play in more than 1,000 straight games. But here's the thing, he's still not even halfway to Cal's incredible streak.
It's something that you have to start early in your career and also play 15 years at the major league level without ever missing a game, and I don't think that'll be done again.
Pretty tough milestone. You know, I'd love to see him get it, but it's one of them things I just don't think so.
Miguel Tejada, he will catch Cal Ripken Jr. somewhere in July 2016. Go get him, Miguel.
You have to honor Miguel for what he's done so far and appreciate it in that vein. That is a very special streak. But the bar for Cal was just so high.
It's undescribable. It'll just never be broken because, one, it's hard enough to play 20 years anymore, let alone start every game. So I think it's impossible.
Is it 42.56?
Yes.
So my math would, if you got 200 hits a season for 20 years, you're still not there.
4,256 hits.
200 hits is tough to do. So he got 200 hits for 21 years, then another 56 hits. So that's ridiculous.
Well, Pete Rose keeps rolling along.
It's crazy. I mean, when you look at Pete's numbers, I mean, this is going into my 20th year, and I had 200 hits once. He had it like for 21 years.
The 4,256 hits, I still remember 4,192. I grew up in Cincinnati and was actually, growing up when he broke the record, and it was the greatest thing ever.
Rose looking for hit 4192. If you have a lump in your throat, you're only human.
I think God could have been pitching that night. I'd have got a base hit the first time up. I just knew I was going to get a base hit.
2-1 pitch from Shaw in the left center. There it is. Rose has eclipsed Cobb. That's number 4,192.
I had one of those Hollywood nights.
For Pete Rose, this certainly is crowning achievement.
You don't know what it feels like. I get a 9-minute standing ovation. It's unbelievable because the cameras were just popping. And that was the only time in my life that I was ever on a baseball field. I didn't know what to do.
You don't realize when you're a kid how you're around so much greatness. You don't realize how long it takes to get to that 4,000 until you get to the major league and you're actually playing, and then you add up how many hits you had, and you're like 4,000. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Rose lines one down the left field line, base hit.
If you get 3,000 hits, you pretty much close to Hall of Fame type status, and you're still over 1,000 some hits away from Pete Rose.
He's done it! Pete Rose, 3,000 hits.
I heard a quote one time. He said the first 3,000 was easy.
This the next 1,000 is a little more difficult. And I guess I'm the only guy who can talk about that because the other guy's gone. I get a kick out of that 3,000 hit club. I got 3,000 left-handed. And don't forget I was a switch batter.
Pete Rose averaged 200 hits a year for the entire decade of the 70s and finished with the Major League record 10 200-hit seasons.
1 hit, he wanted 2. 2, he wanted 3. 3, he wanted 4. And that was him. If you look at a dictionary, you'd say relentless. You see his mug up in there. He loved the game, and you could see it was in his blood. It coursed through his veins.
Base hit for Pete Rose. Oh, what a way to start this night.
That would be tough, but I think that can be broken. If you get somebody that comes in the league that plays from the time they're 20 or 21 and stays healthy for a long time.
Thought Alex Rodriguez have a pretty good chance, but he's not a leadoff guy. He doesn't have too many at-bats. He takes a lot of walks.
A-Rod works a walk.
For you to do that, you have to be a leadoff hitter, first of all. Hit either 1 or 2 in the batting order because you get extra at-bats in the season.
Player today, I think a guy like a Derek Jeter who started young and who's so consistent, and he has a way of getting hits.
Whatever it takes, he does. The 200th hit of the season for Derek Jeter.
You look at like Derek Jeter, I mean, he's had a great career. He's going to get 3,000 hits. But to continue on and go up to 4,000, it's just another level.
Let's put that in perspective. DJ would have to average 211 hits a year for the next 10 years to pass Pete. Of course, there's another guy out there who's also a hitting machine.
A guy kind of like Ichiro, that sort of thing. A guy who gets 200-plus hits every year.
Base hit number 200 for Ichiro Suzuki.
Ichiro, maybe it should be him because of speed, and he put the ball in play all the time.
He indeed is an absolute magician with the bat.
Had he started out here as a 20-year-old or 21-year-old, he might have been able to get up to that number, but he came over here later, so the hits don't count from Japan.
4,200 hits is just an ungodly number.
Start going back to the math. How many years at 200 hits to do it? Just don't see that happening.
Rips this one, base hit.
You not only have to be a great hitter, you have to play in the big leagues for at least 22 years and stay in shape and do the things that you do every day, stay healthy.
And there's a base hit.
The competition that's out there that continue to come up through the ranks, to hold your job in a position and to continue to play at a level in order to get 4,200 hits is unbreakable.
And it is gone for a home run.
Records are made to be broken. Everybody says that, but boy, common sense tells me
There's not going to be a player that's going to be able to play as many years as Pete did and come close to 4,200 base hits.
Other than winning a World Series, capturing the Cy Young Award is the neatest thing that can happen to a Major League pitcher. It means he had a complete season, one so dominant that he was recognized as the best pitcher in his league. I've had the good fortune to win the Cy Young Award 7 times in my career. And every time I win one, I think of the guy who started it all. Because when it comes to unbreakable pitching feats, there is only one Cy.
When you look at it, it doesn't seem right. You think it's a misprint.
You know, being a pitcher, obviously, I mean, 511 wins is a number that is like a wow.
To get 511 victories, Cy Young had to win an average of 23 games a year for 22 years. 40 years after he retired, Cy was still pitching, but those old-timer games don't get added to his total.
Cy Young pitched in a time when the best pitchers won 30 or 35 games in a season. This wasn't because they were superhuman, it was because the conditions of the game at that time made that possible.
They were throwing on 2 days rest, 3 days rest, complete games every time.
Between 1890 and 1911, the man they called the Cyclone chalked up 827 decisions. And get this, 749 of his starts were complete games.
To see his numbers is almost hard to fathom, but you know, he did it and it is real.
511 wins is unthinkable in this day and age.
I don't think it's even possible. That's impossible to get that number. That's ridiculous. No one will ever touch that, not even come close.
If you sit down and do the math. I'm not real good at math.
You know.
You can't figure it out, and I can't figure it out. They're not going to do it.
So let's turn to the professor, Greg Maddux, the current active leader in wins.
If you start 30 games for 20 years, that's 600 starts. Now you got to win 512 of those. That's pretty hard to do.
Maddux just broke Cy's old mark by getting 15 or more wins in 17 consecutive seasons. But Greg is still some 170 wins behind Cy. The difference? The game itself.
Number one, starting pitchers you don't see complete games, so how are you going to get wins?
And now it's up to the bullpen.
You know, nowadays everything is so job specific. You have starters, you have middle relievers, setup men, closers.
And they're booing Joe Torre for this move. Let's see if it works out.
It's the win is so hard to get because everything has to fall in place. So to me, that's the toughest.
7,500 men have thrown a pitch in the big leagues, and Roger Clemens only the 21st to pick up 300 wins.
We put so much emphasis on 300. I mean, 300 is like the number to get.
When you win 300, you're in that short list. You're one of the great pitchers of all time. Congratulations to Greg Maddux.
I don't know what it takes to win 511 games. I got to pitch the rest of my life to get to that point.
Just look at Dwight Gooden, who won 100 games at age 24. To catch Cy, he would have had to maintain that pace until he was 49.
Dwight Gooden wins his 13th game of the year.
The thing that makes it the most ridiculous is the 5-man rotation.
That's a guarantee that there's no one's ever going to hit that mark.
It's a different structure of the game. It's not that someone can't do it. They're not allowed to do it.
We have a great era of pitchers right now still in the game. They're not even close.
Guys like Greg Maddux, Roger Clemens, who pitched 20-something years and are in the mid-300s right now, and to almost add 200 on top of that, it really is incredible. It just puts things in perspective.
I didn't think Superman was real, and I just don't think it's going to happen.
To hit 400, you got to be locked in for one, and two, lucky that everything you hit drops in.
Ted Williams having a tremendous year, hitting over 400. Is there anybody who can get him out?
If you think about it, you basically have to get 2 hits a night, which is almost impossible.
Ted Williams wasn't the first man to hit 400, but he is the last. And it all came down to a doubleheader on the final day of the season.
I had to hit 400 all year long, well over 400. And now I got a chance to be under 400, and that kind of bothered me.
You see, Ted was hitting .3995 on that final day. And if he sat, they would have rounded it to 400. But Ted wasn't about to sit.
There was no doubt in my mind I was going to play, and that was it.
September 28, 1941, it may be a history-making day. All eyes are on this man, Ted Williams, gunning for a 400 season. Here's the pitch to Williams, line drive, base hit. Ted Williams has a hit in his first at-bat.
That was a great hit for me because, you know, it got me going a little bit.
Ted Williams, 4 for 5 in game 1, is still going to play the second one.
Everything has to go right. You have to have everything just right with a great year, a lot of breaks to get to do that.
Second game of the doubleheader. Williams, a line drive, blue darter. It hits the horn in right field, and Ted has himself a double. Ted finishes the doubleheader 6 for 8, batting .406. Not too bad a day.
You know, it's one of those things where you just have to ask yourself, how did he do it?
If I give myself one bit of credit, it was that I thought about what I had to do as much as any hitter.
Ted Williams was unique because he pursued perfection relentlessly.
They throw in where I'm swinging, and I'll be swinging, might mean the old ballgame.
You have to be very patient at the plate. Ted wouldn't swing at any bad pitches.
You can't think of hitting the ball 500 feet, but you think of hitting the ball hard. That's your number one principle.
I'll buy that. I'll really buy that. But you could hit the ball hard 3 times in one game and go 0 for 4.
For him to hit 400 in a season is unbelievable because if you're a 300 hitter in this game, it's pretty remarkable. To bat 400 is crazy.
Well, it's so hard that he was the last guy that did it.
What more can you say than Ted Williams, one of the all-time greats?
Ted Williams, he said when he was a kid, I want to be the best hitter of all time. He might have proven it. That's a tough thing to do.
Two out of 5 for 600 at-bats. Really, really hard to do.
So hard that in the 7 decades since Ted did it, only 3 Hall of Famers have flirted with 400.
Number 29.
The man is a natural-born hitter. Oh, he's an exceptional hitter. One of the best in baseball.
66 years. I mean, there's been a lot of good hitters come and go, and Tony Gwynn being one of them.
Shot left center field, gonna drop.
I don't see anybody breaking it.
I don't want to say no because, you know, there's some great hitters out there, but, you know, guys have gotten pretty close to 370, 380, but I think there's a big jump from that up to 400.
It's tough for me to hit 300, much less another 100 points higher.
I think 400 is going to be tough to do now. I really do. The pitching is so specialized now.
Going to go to his left-hander.
You're going to have to get most of your hits against guys, you know, middle relief and closers with pretty good stuff.
Strike 3.
You've got the best pitching in the world. You're drawing from a much wider pool of players. You know, in 41, it wasn't a worldwide game like it is now.
Struck him out!
But if it could happen today, what would it take?
You have to be, first of all, good. Second, consistent. Third, focused. Fourth, lucky.
400 is just ridiculous. And the only person I would think that would come close is Albert Pujols, maybe a guy that has a lot of power. He can hit the ball every way, but doesn't strike out.
And Albert Pujols gives them what they came here to see.
I think somebody can do it one year, but who knows?
Probably Joe Mauer. I mean, he makes it look so easy.
He's batting .370 to lead the American League.
Wins a batting title when he's 23. What else do you do after that?
The first catcher ever to win a batting championship.
Unbelievable. I would pick right now Ichiro. I mean, he's got a combination of obviously hand-eye coordination and with speed. You know, speed never goes in a slump.
But even with all their tools, today's hitters still stand in the shadow of Ted and the magical mark of 400.
Here's Derek Lee hitting .389.
It's almost unbelievable that he actually did it. Like, I would love to see someone do it, but I don't have a hard time believing it's going to happen again.
That's pretty special. I don't know if that'll happen, but you never know. Never say never.
So far, we've witnessed 5 of the most unbreakable feats in baseball history, 2 of which belong to pitchers. And while strikeouts and wins tell you a lot about a pitcher's season, the true barometer is the earned run average. And that's why what took place in 1968 is so phenomenal.
In '68, for some reason, just happens to be the year that everything came together. And yeah, I was in a zone.
Finished 22-9, unanimous MVP. And the most amazing thing about Gibson's 1968 season, a 1.12 ERA.
Bob Gibson, who set a new National League record for earned run average this year, 1.12.
Well, a 1 ERA is ridiculous. It's so good.
To have a 1.12 ERA at the end of the season is just, it's unheard of.
Everybody talks about it, about '68, and it certainly was a good year.
I know, I don't want to face that guy.
From 45, Bob Gibson.
Bob Gibson was the most intimidating and hardest to hit right-handed pitcher in history.
The pitch coming, a swing and a miss. He struck him out. And that's 3,000 for Bob Gibson.
Bob Gibson probably was the best competitor I ever played against.
I never pace myself. When I go out there from the first pitch to the last, I give everything I got.
He gave no quarter, did not like talking to the opposing team.
Gibson wouldn't say a word. I go over to him, "Hi, Bob, how you doing?" "I don't know. I'll let you know tomorrow."
Good golly, he's the kind of guy that if you ever went into battle, you'd want him in the foxhole next to you.
With his determination on the mound and his sheer pitching skill, you had somebody who for several years was virtually unbeatable.
And no year was better than '68.
I had good control. I was probably as strong as I'd ever been in my life, and I knew how to pitch by that time.
Following the '68 season, baseball made some rules changes, reducing the height of the pitcher's mound and shrinking the size of the strike zone. That rules change had more to do with Bob Gibson than with anybody else. A 1.12 ERA for 1968.
All eyes key on Bob Gibson.
Since 1968, there have been 25 pitchers who finished with an ERA of under 2. But no one has seriously challenged Gibson's 1.12.
1.12 for a full season for a starting pitchers is pretty good. I know Pedro's been down in the, I think, high ones.
He struck him out. There's no pitcher you'd rather have right now than Pedro Martinez.
Greg Maddux came as close as anybody with a 1.5, and I thought that was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen in my life.
That was just a year where everything went right. Just one of those things. You make a bad pitch, they pop it up. You make a good pitch, they'd make an out on it. You know, that really doesn't always happen sometimes.
Other than Maddux, the only pitcher who got that close to Gibson was a young Doc Gooden in 1985.
You got to go back to Gibson's 1.12 in '68 to really get an idea what this guy's doing.
Got him on the changeup.
A 1.12 ERA seems like a lock to last forever. But I gave it my best shot in 2005.
Good night. High cheese from Roger, just blew it through at 93.
I was 43 years old when I got my career best ERA that year, but I still finished more than a half a run short.
Bob Gibson's 1968 mark of 1.12 will likely never be matched again.
I think the 1.12 by Bob Gibson never be broken.
You know, in today's day and age, guys are getting bigger, stronger. Ballparks are smaller than they used to be. I think it's going to be real tough for a pitcher to post a 1.12.
I couldn't even imagine that. I really couldn't, because that's just being on top of your game every day, every inning, every pitch.
So is there anyone in today's game with a chance to better Bob?
Anybody that comes to mind right now that can do it, I really don't think so.
It's going to be tough. I mean, Johan Santana, his last couple of years, he's pitched about as good as you can pitch in the American League, and he hadn't come, close to that.
Struck him out. Damon frozen at the plate. Wow.
What usually leads the league now? 2.8, 2.9. That's 1.1.
1.12. I mean, nobody's going to touch that.
There goes Ricky.
He's the one player in baseball history that can win a game by himself.
There he goes.
Here's the throw. He's in there.
Skill, determination, knowledge of what he's doing. It's a science to him.
Henderson with a good lead, and he got a big jump. The quickness is incredible.
How are you going to just stop people like that? All you're trying to do is corral them.
When you played against Ricky, you hated him. I mean, because you said, this guy's a hot dog, he's flamboyant.
Ricky had that passion to challenge you, and that's what I liked about it. He had base running arrogance.
If you're going to be a base stealer, you better be arrogant, and you better be self-centered. That's what it takes.
Today, I'm the greatest of all time.
Stealing bases is an art form. You know, you could be fast, but, you know, stealing bases is a talent.
There are many ways to advance a runner 90 feet in baseball, but no one did it better single-handedly than Ricky Henderson.
He's saying, come on, take me on, take me on. And once they accept that challenge, Ricky rises to another level.
A level that reached new heights in 1982, when in just his fourth year in the majors, Ricky broke the all-time record for stolen bases in a season.
He's running. A pitch out. The throw to second. He is safe at second. He's stolen 119.
He's one of the few athletes I've ever been starstruck to me just because of that feat.
By the end of that year, Ricky had stolen 130 bases.
130? Oh boy, had to run your year alone.
In the 24 years since then, only one other player has stolen even 100 bases in a season. But Ricky was far from through, and it was inevitable that he would someday shatter Lou Brock's all-time mark of 938 career stolen bases.
He knew that it was going to happen. We were talking before the game, and he was saying, well, you know, when I break the record, you know, I want you to come and grab the base for me. And I said, well, what if you don't get it today? And he says, there ain't no chance that Ricky ain't gonna do it today.
He's going. Here comes the throw. He's got it. The all-time Major League stolen base leader.
Lou Brock was the symbol of great base stealing. But today, I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
I don't think his record will be broken, to tell you the truth. I don't think anybody wants to work that hard anymore.
You know, that's going into the ground so many times. Like, your body, that's such a pounding on your body.
Runner stealing home. He is safe. Crawford stole home.
You're going to be so tired, you know, you just want to stop at some point.
Still, Ricky kept going, and his 1,406 career stolen bases is a number so imposing that none of the game's premier base stealers today are within even 1,000 of it. Think about that. Ricky's career and single-season records are safe.
It's hard to get on 130 times in a season, let alone steal that many bags.
We got a guy that we think is extremely fast, and Corey Patterson. He stole 45 bases. You know, when you're talking about tripling of that, you know, that's quite a big deal.
The throw to third, save.
I stole 70 bases in a season, and I remember limping into that offseason, just wore out, just out of gas. So I think that's going to be tough to break.
The entire league, I think, as a whole, the philosophy on the running game is a little bit different.
Guys hit more home runs now, and you know, when you're on first base, a lot of times you're already in scoring position.
But I think ultimately pitchers aren't giving you an opportunity to steal like they were.
They got him at first base. They picked him off again.
Ricky Henderson messed it up for everybody, basically. That's pretty much what I'm going to say, because the slide step, they changed how they pitch to the plate because of guys like Ricky Henderson. They altered their motion. And to even think that somebody's going to get 90 or 100 again, that's probably never going to happen.
Guys are leading the league with 50 stolen bases, 60 stolen bases, and to get 1,400 at that pace, I mean, you've got to play 25 years.
Ricky Henderson's career is a testament to his longevity, but also to his skill and his will to succeed. And brother, let me tell you, I can relate to that.
I don't see too many guys being able to play as many years as Rickey Henderson did at the high level that Rickey Henderson was able to play. I mean, he was still into his early 40s and still one of the fastest guys in the league.
It's tough, man. I think my boy Juan can do it. Jose Reyes, Jimmy Rollins, you know, guys in that nature. But again, they have to play for a long period of time to even have a shot at that.
They don't make Rickey Hendersons. You know, they haven't made any before him, or it's going to be a long time coming until there's another one after him.
I've come out of the bullpen as a relief pitcher twice in my career. And though I never really saved a game, I have a great deal of respect for the guys who do. The pressure they're under, coming in with the game on the line, is just unbelievable. Now imagine doing that every single time, night after night, and you realize how amazing our next unbreakable feat really is.
Pitching for the Dodgers.
Every time I go on the mound, I don't expect to blow a save. I expect to get a save.
Number 38.
Basically, when I'm on the mound, the hitter is trying to steal money away from my kids.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
No closer in baseball history was more reliable over a 3-year span than Eric Gagne, or as we know him as,
Game over. That's how they feel nowadays when this guy comes to the mound.
Perfect statement for when he came in the game.
Gagne strikes out the side.
Game over.
Gagne has done it again.
The game was over when he came in. He's got that attitude where he's going to crush you.
Looking kind of psychotic out there.
I mean, he was just unhittable. I mean, no matter what it was, you know, once he came in out of that bullpen, I mean, it was lights out.
Eric began saving games in 2002. And 1 year later, he set a new record of 55 straight.
There it is. Eric Gagne has the record.
It's such a good record because it's a win for the team, so it's not a selfish record.
But Eric wasn't content just to break the record.
75 in a row.
When a guy gets on a roll, you can see it happening because he has no fear.
Absolutely dominating.
And that's what I was thinking of watching him at the time. I think this guy's invincible.
He went on this incredible streak that just changed the face of what closers are all about.
His 84th consecutive save.
Unprecedented in the history of Major League Baseball.
I really take pride on winning, and that's all I really cared about.
You know, eventually he blows the save, and everybody was stunned.
And the crowd stands up, and well, they should. He deserves a standing ovation for an unbelievable streak.
Everybody was blown away. I guess everybody was thinking that he'd probably never blow another one.
And although the streak did end at 84 straight saves, it continues to inspire both awe and admiration.
For me, the best I've ever seen. Every time he goes in there, you expect 3 Ks.
Got it. He strikes out the side.
Fact is, Eric struck out more than half the men he faced during the streak, thanks in part to his unique approach.
He was kind of a combination of power and finesse. He was a power arm, power fastball.
99 miles an hour.
But he had one of the best changeups in the game.
There's no sense of you taking a bat up there because of, you know, at that point, I mean, he was just untouchable.
I mean, you really have no chance to get a base hit. I mean, he's that awesome.
The guy could tell you here comes a changeup, and you still couldn't hit it. You know, whether it was a curveball, and you still couldn't hit it.
Slow curveball. Oh, my gosh.
And then he came throwing 95, 96 miles an hour. Every one of those things was just devastating.
In 2003, he became the first relief pitcher since Dennis Eckersley to win the Cy Young Award, going 55 for 55 in save opportunities.
Eric Gagne stays perfect.
Not going out there one night in a season and just, you know, it wasn't my night or I didn't have my stuff. That's just unbelievable.
To put it in perspective, it's probably something that we might be able to break on a video game.
Without blowing a save in 84 chances against, you know, the greatest hitters in the world is just unbelievable.
Strike three, call.
When you get in those streaks, now there's this big deal about it, and you have to deal with that on a daily basis.
We're ready to go tomorrow. Day in, day out, there'd be some times where you're just not feeling it.
Someday you might come out with your arm sore, or you don't come out throwing the same velocity.
There's so many factors that do go into play with it. Everybody's got to be lucky to be good, and that's a byproduct of hard work.
Can't believe the work ethic and the makeup of this guy.
They only recognize 84, but they don't remember all the stuff that happened. There's a lot of great catch out there. Dave Roberts went over the wall in center field and used it.
Dave Roberts really got the save.
Yeah, we all get help, Eric, but we also know 84 straight is out of this world.
I think I've had a streak of like 26.
Save from Billy Wagner.
I think the most I've ever gotten in a row is like high 20.
Nathan closes it out for the Twins.
I think I've done like 25.
Fuentes slams the door.
I was like, geez, I can't believe I've gone this many.
I've got 24, and it feels like, it took forever to get there.
Gonzalez gets his 24th consecutive save.
And for him to just do it in a row, I don't think that could be broken.
So let's ask, is there anyone out there who can do it?
The person that does get close to it is someone that's got to be around the league a long time.
Trevor Hoffman has become the all-time saves leader in Major League Baseball history.
How about the best clutch reliever of all time, my man Mo?
Mariano is a perfect example. He can go on a streak.
Mariano to the rescue again.
I'm guaranteeing in his mind he doesn't think he'll ever blow a save.
As the saying goes, records are made to be broken.
Strike three, call.
But 84 straight saves? Man, I don't know if this one has a chance.
Basically, 2.5, almost 3 seasons of being perfect every time out.
Gagne has done it again.
I really care about what I do. I love what I do, and that's why I think it's such a privilege to be a part of that streak.
Game over. The New York Yankees, world champions, most successful franchise of the century.
26 world championships. No team in professional sports has more.
They are an amazing baseball team.
The men who've worn the Yankee uniform could fill a Hall of Fame wing of their own. So it's no surprise that they've had more than a few runs of championship dominance. Like in the 30s, when the Yankees won 4 straight fall classics. But a later Yankee dynasty would top even that.
The Bombers did it again. 5 World Series in a row. They made baseball history. What a team.
It's tough to win one year. 5 in a row is unbelievable, man. You gotta give some credit to those guys that was there at that time.
And when you have a roster of DiMaggio, Berra, Rizzuto, and Mantle, you can understand how they did it.
Your team stayed together. Nobody left. And when you put together a group of great players and you keep that team together, that's the reason why they did it.
That's true. But back then, guys still had another reason to win the World Series.
My first 2 years, I made more money in the World Series than I made in my whole salary for the whole year. When you won World Series, you wouldn't have to go to work that winter. You'd be able to relax.
The key thing was to win, because winning is where you made your money. And we were supporting families. That's how we made our money. We had to get in the World Series to make money.
It was the perfect formula for a championship streak that may never be equaled. How incredible is 5 straight World Series titles? Well, consider that no team has come close to that mark since then. In fact, only 2 teams have even won 3 straight.
The Oakland A's captured their 3rd successive World Championship.
The New York Yankees have won their 3rd straight championship.
It's just amazing the fact that we have been able to do it year after year after year.
I was fortunate enough to win 2 World Series. I think when you win a World Series, you don't really understand what you've accomplished till the next year when you don't accomplish it.
We won one a couple of years ago.
The White Sox have won the World Series.
As a team, we know how hard it was to come and defend 5 in a row. Wow, what a run.
It's so difficult to repeat as world champions because the process you have to go through.
The Atlanta Braves back in the World Series here in 1996 after winning it in 1995, proving to all of us just how tough it is to become a dynasty.
Before you just had to win a 5-game series and then a 7-game series, and now you have to win a 5 and 2 sevens.
And beyond the expanded postseason, there are other factors.
5 straight World Series titles would be tough, you know, for the simple fact that there's a lot of turnover.
Guys are not staying with one team anymore. I mean, guys are getting traded. You can't keep a team together.
When the Yanks did it back then, it would be interesting to see how many teams they were competing against. There's 30 teams now. Going back to, 2001, you got the Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks win! They're the world champion!
You got the Angels, the Marlins.
The Florida Marlins are the champions of the baseball world.
So I think it's just up for grabs.
Seriously, from 01 through 06, there have been 6 different champions, and half of them were wild card teams. No way someone's winning 5 titles in a row.
I think our game has changed to the point where we have enough competitive balance throughout the league to not allow that to happen.
5 straight World Series titles. I don't see that being broken anytime soon, if ever.
Joe D, 56 games. What makes that so tough?
Dude, it's 56 straight games, dude.
56-game hitting streak. Wow.
56, man. That's almost 2 months for the hitting.
One of the game's all-time greats, who always went all out in playing his way to the pinnacle of his profession.
People nowadays get all fired up when someone gets 30 games.
A 30-game hit streak for Albert Pujols.
You know, I got 10 last year and I was fired up.
It's an immensely improbable accomplishment, so much so that one is tempted to dismiss it as some kind of a fluke.
It's a high number. It's definitely a number that's way out there in space somewhere until somebody's able to get there. It's one heck of a record.
1941, that's a memorable year, yes.
May 15th, 1941. That's the day Joe D began a hitting streak that has lasted more than 65 years.
I recall it. It was a fellow by the name of Edgar Smith for the White Sox. I got a base hit. Didn't mean very much.
No, not much at the time. But Joe kept hitting, and the baseball world began to take notice.
The excitement really began when he started to close in on the streak that was then the standard.
Attendance picked up all over the league. They had paid their money. They wanted to see DiMaggio extend the streak.
And on July 2nd, DiMaggio did just that, establishing a new mark for hitting excellence.
The line drive into the stands, Joe turned a new page in baseball history. He made it 45.
And we all know he didn't stop there.
Safe hits in 56 consecutive games, an all-time record.
Anytime you get in the teens and into the 20s, that's a good streak. You know, and to see somebody go into the 20s and then into the 30s, that's reaching some pretty elite territory there. Just to try to relay that into a 56-game hitting streak, that almost seems impossible.
For him not to slip up any day and get a hit every single day, I think that's one of the greatest feats in sports history.
A 56-game hitting streak, when I look at that, I think to myself, that, my friends, will not be broken.
Pete Rose came closest in 1978 when he got a hit in 44 straight.
Pete Rose keeps rolling along.
It's been tried a lot of years and by a number of players,
including Jimmy, one of 2 Phillies who've made recent runs.
Jimmy Rollins,
Chase Utley
has extended his hitting streak to
35 straight games.
Takes a lot of luck. You might get 4 pitches a game to hit, and you got to somehow hit them. So it's difficult to deal with.
And the modern game presents a few more challenges that Joe never had to face.
There's more specialty pitchers in the game today, whereas back then you would see the starter for sure 4 times and maybe one other guy.
And hey, there are a few more cameras these days.
The media exposure nowadays is so much greater that I think that there's too much of an emphasis on it.
He won't be able to breathe, you know, when he's going to home after a game. Hey, you think you can do it?
56 straight sure sounds unbreakable. But if it could be done, who do you think could do it?
I think Jeter.
Jeter is now hitting 25.
He stays inside the ball a lot and hits the ball opposite field.
He has the 3rd longest streak in Yankees history.
I love Joe Mauer's approach.
Oh, is he swinging a hot bat tonight?
He's a guy that doesn't gamble a lot and it can go the other way.
This guy just is a hitting machine.
Albert Pujols.
Look at this baby ride. Get up, get up, get up. Oh, yeah.
Just his, his eye for the strike zone and his ability to make contact. He never strikes out.
He says, keep on pitching, and I'll keep on hitting.
Those are the contenders. But again, one guy stands out.
The one name that comes to mind is Ichiro.
Ichiro Suzuki.
Ichiro is something. Ichiro, you are unbelievable.
He can hit everything and keep the outfielders honest. He can get infield hits.
He can put the bat on the ball no matter where it is. He's got a lot of speed.
Can that little guy fly?
I am very confident in my hitting ability, but hitting in 56 straight games is an amazing achievement. Just thinking about what it would take is astounding to me.
Ichiro is the favorite. But is this really a record that will someday fall?
I think it's something that can be done. Will it be? Maybe, maybe not. Only time will tell.
Part of me wishes I was playing back when Joe D made that amazing run. It really must have been something special to see. Then again, I'm glad I never had to face him. Well, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Here's how more than 160 Major League players, coaches, and managers answered our poll and ranked the most unbreakable feats in baseball history.
Let's go. Yeah, all right.
Eric Gagne does it again for his 84th consecutive save.
To see all the different situations that he was in and to still get a save out of it and to do it 84 times, it was just pretty amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
$3,000 strikeouts is the number that people look at to get to Hall of Fame, and that's 2,700 more.
He struck him out swinging. Strikeout number 5,000 is history for Nolan Ryan.
That's one run every 9 innings. You can't do that this day and age.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Of 130 stolen bases, I can't believe anyone has that many stolen bases in a season.
There goes Ricky.
Guys are leading the league with 60 stolen bases, and to get 1,400 at that pace, you've got to play 25 years.
There goes Henderson, and he's in there.
Pete Rose's record is unbelievable.
He rips this one, base hit right field.
There is so many things that you have to do to hit 4,200 hits.
Pete Rose keeps rolling along.
That's over 20 years of 200 hits.
Yes, sir, the Bombers did it again. 5 World Series in a row.
5 straight World Series titles would be tough, and even repeating is a tough thing to do.
After 2, everybody's out there gunning for you.
I felt good about winning 1 in a row. It's just inconceivable you could do it 5 times in a row.
The greatest hitter that ever lived. Ted Williams.
The pace and the mental toughness of something like that over a 162-day grind is awful tough.
They throw in where I'm swinging, and I'll be swinging. Might mean the old bogey.
To get a hit in 56 straight games, not only do you have to be in the zone, but you have to get some luck.
I think the most I've ever had is like 15, and that was a long stretch for me right there.
No one has come even close since he put it on the board over 60 years ago.
511 wins is unthinkable in this day and age. You see how hard it is for guys to get to 300 wins nowadays. Nobody's arm is going to last that long.
The benchmark is 300 wins to get you into the Hall of Fame, so now you're adding 200 wins on top of that.
Play 162 games is tough enough without having some freak thing happen to you.
It's a great feat to not miss a game in one season, yet alone doing it, 15 seasons in a row.
If he could get up out of bed, he could run and throw and see, then he was going to play.
We will never see anything like this again.
So there you have it. Beyond strikeouts, saves, and steals, the men who play the game say the single most unbreakable feat in all of baseball history is one of endurance. Congratulations, Cal. A true Hall of Famer. I'm the Rocket, Roger Clemens. Thanks for watching baseball's most unbreakable feats.
Wow. Look at these records, dude.
The most unbreakable?
Geez, there's lots of them.
A lot of them are pretty tough.
Well, some good ones, isn't there?
Okay, top three.
3?
Gee, man, it's hard.
No chance.
I can't pick 3, actually. I think they're all It's so ridiculous.
That's tough.
I mean, you could circle them all.
Well, I picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I'll cross out 4.
Can I take them all?
56-game hit streaks. It's pretty tough.
Cy Young's impossible. The two I definitely know are that Pete Rose and Cal Ripken will not ever be broken.
Not even close.
Oh my gosh. What about Gibson's 1.12 ERA? Holy.
I mean, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah, lost between Bob Gibson with that ridiculous, stupid ERA 1.12.
5,700 strikeouts. Unless guys like me keep playing.
I can't do it. I can't lie to you like that.